Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the Shanghai Dota 2 Open. We're going to be taking a look at game number 1 here. It's going to be EHOME.K facing off against LGD.Forever Young. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by PqMz. Sir, how you doing? You excited about this game? We just got done with another one with EHOME. What are you hoping to see in this game?
Well, I was hoping for some more eHome lifestealer, but looks like they don't want to go that way this game,
My goodness, and an
which
early
is a
Ruby
sad
pick.
day.
What is it that you like about that? I mean, you're digging the life stealer in general.
It's just not a lot of teams play it, and they seemed very comfortable when they were actually able to execute it. So it's just nice to see different takes on the metagame, because OD is extremely standard, and seeing the Knicks against it is pretty standard, so it's nice to see a change of pace after a while.
Absolutely, yeah. And I will say that after the OD first pick, EHOME.K, they're going back for the Nyx Assassin. We have seen this as an answer a few times at this point in the tournament. The mana burn does a ridiculous amount of damage to OD, not to mention the fact that if you do get a Vendetta off, you can find a nice little spiked Carapace after the Astral Imprisonment wears off, and then you can sometimes even just get the Vendetta Impale combination, and it's an easy kill on the OD. So kind of a unique first little response there for EHOME.K.
Yeah, it's just a very storied counter throughout like the entire of their two existences. The Moran is a hero that's also kind of fallen off, but I really like the hero. It's just harder to look so good with now because the burst damage has been drastically reduced.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the early game was never, I mean, never incredibly strong for Mirana, but it still remained somewhat potent in the as far as being able to find arrow initiations if you get a little bit of help. Do you still like Mirana in the position 2 role, or do you think it's much more now just trying to play that roaming support and possibly pair it with somebody else that they can apply pressure on lanes?
I think both are still viable. It's a lot harder to just say, okay, we're gonna pick Morana and we're gonna throw it mid and it's going to eventually do something, or it's gonna really do well from the get-go. Now I think it requires more strategy.
Yeah, just identifying where your opening is. I mean, I guess if there's not going to be many instances where OD is going to want to try and imprison himself, because that would be a nice little setup. But also going to be taking the Rubik now. Why do you think LGD have opted to take this guy this early on in the draft?
Nick's spell steals are pretty amazing, and I think if you have a Rubik player, it's a very flexible pick. It's always going to offer something, and it doesn't give too much away. If anything, it prevents certain heroes getting picked, or it's like, do we really want to pick a Tidehunter or a Magnus or one of those heroes that have multiple good spells to steal when you know you're going into a Rubik? Answer's generally no. Sometimes you forego it because there's a lot of good spells to steal.
Yeah, that would be a
It's
pretty
just a
great
nice,
one.
easy hero. You can throw it into any draft, and it doesn't give anything away. It has its weaknesses, sure, but what hero doesn't?
Right. Yeah, and I guess is there anything that's easily exploitable? Like maybe the laning potential of him. Rubik does have a pretty good auto attack range, and I feel like a decent animation. I don't know.
He's not too good at zoning.
Okay.
That's a big thing. But a lot of carries these days are things like PA, Drow, Sven, Lifestealer. They are good safe laners, so Rubik's a bit more enabled by things like that.
Bounty
Most of them are banned out
hunter.
this game though, so if you can contest him in the lane, that's his like really weak point. Or if you're the lineup that is always going to win team fights, I feel like that's not the game Rubik wants to play. Because you want to be able to get in this fight, steal some spells, and keep them afterwards so you can use them for farming potential, pushing out lanes, etc. If you're constantly losing team fights, I hate being Rubik in that game. But I'm not a world-class Rubik, so I'm sure people make it work.
Absolutely. And yeah, Starstorm feels like a pretty good one. It's also, I mean, if you can get an Ags game eventually, it's pretty great for Rubik here as well. I don't think you can get. I'm not sure how that all works with Nyx Assassin's kit because all of his spells
I've
are
never seen
affected
it.
by an Ags. I don't imagine that you can use it though. There's some weird
No.
interactions there.
Witch
Well,
doctor.
you can obviously steal the spells, but I don't think you get the borrow effect. That would be obscenely broken if you did.
I love that idea.
I've never seen it though, so I'd be interested. Maybe you could steal the burrow if it counts as an actual spell when he activates it, and then you steal the spell he casts afterwards with your low cooldown.
10
There we
I
go.
seconds
don't know.
remaining.
It's the dream,
We
the
can
way that
dream.
you want to make it happen. Well, the
5
Witch Doctor is going to
seconds
get taken
remaining.
in response for EHOME.K, and this guy feels to me like he's always a pretty good zoning /
Reserve
lane
time.
support style of dude, and a little bit tankier also, so Bounty Hunter can't give him too much of a tough time. I like this here, but again, I'm kind of feeling like maybe before they get their level 6s, EHOME are going to be really lacking damage.
Dire team ban.
I don't know, maybe I'm...
It's so-so. It depends on their safe laner. Witch Doctor can be huge damage output with the Maledict, and you can't underestimate how much damage ET does in the first 2 levels.
Radiant
If he
team
connects
ban.
with the Stomp, you're taking about 150 damage, which is a lot at minute 1. Sorry, 140. Maybe it got slightly nerfed at one point. That's still a lot pre-mitigation.
And I guess that's something that
Radiant
they'll need to be
team
pretty
pick.
prepared for. They do ban out the last anti-mage now, as well as Slark taken out of this pool, which makes me pretty happy because that hero, I really hate playing against it.
It would have been really good this game. EHOME don't really have the best
10
heroes
seconds
deal with it.
remaining.
It's a nightmare to initiate on with Nyx.
5 seconds
Well,
remaining.
what do you think about this now? A last pick for LGD.Forever Young. Like, drafts-wise, is there anything that
Reserve
either
time.
team really needs?
I feel like LFY wants something that can set the tempo.
Huh.
Spectre's
Dire
an
team pick.
interesting way of doing it, but you do still have the ability to take fights with the hero, and it works incredibly well with Iron Shell and Track. Also gives you the luxury of always finding out like the Witch Doctor in the fight. ET Witch Doctor, they're
10
not
seconds
exactly the best
remaining.
heroes against Spectre.
Mm-hmm.
Nor is Nyx for that matter.
5
Nor is
seconds
Podom
remaining.
actually, though it's not actually a great Spectre game. The only downside is Ags Mirana
Reserve
with an ET
time.
aura does a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, it's just that instant burst that can cause so many issues, and you do rely upon that tank ability. It's might be a problem
Luna.
later on. They go for a last pick Luna now out of
That's
EHOME.K, and this
ballsy.
is... I always feel like whenever I see a Luna, there's a potential for like an aggro tri-lane with a Witch Doctor. Is that something they might think about, or do you think that they just want to focus on getting the QD the farm
Yeah,
that he
they
needs?
definitely could. I actually think that would be a really good idea because their lane is inherently stronger, even as a 2-on-2. If you negate the bounty and ET equation, Nyx getting the levels always sets the hero up to thrive. He's going to do perfectly fine against Darkseer.
Hmm.
Darkseer will always get slightly more out of the lane because he can farm the side camp, etc. But if you're used to the matchup, Nyx can go 50-50 on CS, and it just comes down to who's better at the lane. And then Mirana OD as well, slightly favored to the OD. And the
10
bounty is obviously
seconds
going to throw a wrench
remaining.
into that. But I think it sets eHome's lanes up to go a lot better. I really like that idea.
5
If
seconds
they don't
remaining.
do it, I kind of fear for the Knicks getting levels. He could Iron Talon, I suppose, but that's always risky against bounty when you kind of had to body tank the way down to like 10% health just to kill a camp.
Ooh, I'm gonna reconnect real quickly. This is looking rather
Prepare
choppy.
for
Usually, I don't want to. I haven't been saying anything, but this whole tournament, it's only taken me one reconnect to get into a good position. So hopefully, we
You
were
just
able.
jinxed it.
I know, and I shouldn't have said it. I've held off saying it every day so far. Cross your fingers, folks out there.
I mean, luckily I'm in a good spot for most of these games, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not the cameraman, and thank God for that.
That's a good
People,
point. All
people would not like my camera.
right, and look
It's
at
not quite
this.
as bad as Eternal Envies, but you know, it's probably up there.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like we're in a little bit of a better position. I mean, we've got 200 ping, but there aren't any issues with
30
the
seconds
overloading
to
of the
battle.
perfect world server. So it looks like that we're going to be able to be fine with this. So good stuff, ladies and
And
gents.
we can curse Dota.
It's what we want to do. It's what we're all about. It does look like they're going to be sending the Knicks down here, though. So you're saying you're worried about the Knicks getting the levels. I mean, is there anything that you can do to mitigate this, or is it just like kind of cross your fingers that he'll get what he needs?
I think if he has a good read on where the bounty is, he can
The
make a lot more
battle
out of this lane.
begins.
Because it's not the scariest lane. Rubik will naturally lift you at certain points, then you can just TP out. But actually, no, they are swapping, so maybe
Okay.
a bit of a late decision. I
Oh,
like this a lot. As I already said earlier, I think it just sets our lanes up for more success. They did slightly miss the D ward, so LFY should figure this out pretty quickly. Inspector can always TP top.
oh man, that
And
yeah,
whoever moves
Spectre.
first is in a better position.
You can't be hanging out in this lane if you're a Spectre. It's going to be a ton of damage coming this way. They are going to bring down, like you were saying, LPC, this Rubik who's heading over here, but this is definitely going to... I mean, does Zhao Wei have to come down as well to try and make things happen, or do you just completely abandon it and switch out the Spectre top?
Yeah, you just move the Spectre away from this lane. The biggest problem they run into is you can't just sacrifice the hero here. Spectre is like the key point of your draft, and OD's not going to be able to win hard enough if you sack the Spectre, I feel like. They are doing a lot of damage to this bottom though.
What is going on over here? I mean, the other thing that's weird about this now is Spectre just used her dagger, try and get whatever last hit she can, pull the creep wave back over. But this means that she doesn't have the mana for it. I guess the Mango will be okay, so fine. I thought that she might be in a little bit of trouble there, but it's going to have to ferry out a TP scroll to herself after the mid gets the courier out that direction.
I think if it was me, I would have just daggered into the shop and TP top and said, you know what, screw this lane, I'm out. Going home, boys. They can do some shenanigans with the pulls, but if EHOME supports keyed on, they should just deny this and contest every pull, because their supports are a lot stronger. As long as they see the bounty mid, there's really nothing to worry about. And the bottom can deal with the bounty harass.
LPC might go down. That was rather close. They actually pull him back in towards the tower, and ADH is going to be fine. That's so much damage coming out from this ET. They haven't moved the Spectre yet, though, and Monet is still hanging out here.
I mean, he is getting levels, I suppose. I think it's better that he stays down here now and doesn't move because he didn't in the first 30 seconds. Because he's still going to have problems against the Nyx, getting CS. He's going to need his supports there as well. And if he moves top and EHOME move top, then he's not in his safe lane anymore. And you would much rather be in your safe lane against an aggro tri lane than you would in an off lane.
Oh, God. It
It's
just
just a hard
feels like a
life for him.
nightmare. This is the worst start that I think a Spectre could possibly have, and I mean it's nothing that has to do with the hero at all, or with the player
I
at
mean,
all.
it
It's
does,
just
but... sorry, the hero, yeah. The hero isn't actually weak.
it's the hero, not the player, I guess is the big thing. It's not his play that's causing the issue. Meanwhile, up
It's
in the
not
top lane,
game-breaking for them, though.
yeah, they're going to be able to mess around a little bit there. You can see the Darkseer is getting the better end of the deal, 8-1 versus the 10-0 of the Nyx. So there's stuff that's going back their direction at the very least. But how long can Monet keep this up? Does he have to wait until level 6 and then try and find a kill with Han even? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, pretty much. They just have to let the Darkseer kind of be the damage tool and Spectre get his levels. They can use the bounty to win the other lanes, which they're quite comfortably doing at the moment. OD is by far a CS leader, having very, very good start. And as long as Spectre can get involved in team fights and get his money that way, and eventually EHOME will have to leave this lane. They can't just sit down here. Their tri-lane is by no means super sustainable when Haunt comes online and Darkseer starts moving around and iron shelling people.
Double damage.
So it's a win for now, definitely, but it's not going to stay that way for 10 minutes.
Okay.
I imagine 3 or 4 more minutes at most, and then they will consider moving around.
Oh, God.
At that point, Iron Shell will be a problem.
Up here top as well, Yao is just getting continually mana burned. And the danger of the Impale is always there also. It's a bit of a rough one all around, as they are going to try and at least apply a little bit of harassment on a JDH. We haven't seen EHOME.K really pressure as far as finding a kill on the Spectre yet. Do you think she's relatively safe in this lane, even if she's not getting... She's at 9 CS versus the 20 and 4?
I don't think there's a lot of kill potential on her unless she gets like super caught out and level 2 Maledict or some really good cast bounces on one creep. Because she is fairly tanky. And the Rubik can always sacrifice himself. But all they need to do in this lane is get more farm than Spectre, which I don't think they're doing as good a job as they would like to.
Oh, great.
Especially with how badly the other lanes are going. Like, Nyx should have 10 more CS, I think. The Mirana's obviously going to have problems because of the bounty. That's nothing to do with himself. Yeah, the other lanes just aren't going as well as they would like. So this tri-lane, I don't know. They set themselves up well with their lanes. I just think their execution's a bit lacking.
Alright, well, Monet is still here, and they're going to pull the creep wave past as I missed the first blood in towards the mid lane. And Mirana, at least for now, is going to go back and take the long walk over this direction. It's a very passive game for a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario like you're talking about. And I guess Monet's still, I mean, he's almost level 6 at this point, so it's not completely awful, but I do have to wonder what's this going to mean.
Yeah, he's just going to wait for Haunt and maybe buys an urn before that chance, and then they convert a kill and he can start being a bit more active. Because in conjunction with Dark, so they can definitely make things happen. Right now, it's just a waiting game for them. They were never looking to make a massive amount of things happen in the early game anyway. So their lineup is much more mid-game centric.
I guess I'm thinking, though, that like when you're getting doubled up in CS between the Luna, like she is going to be such a problem child. And now the Witch Doctor getting Dawn on. They do also have a Stomp that can come out in a second. Connects on to 2. They take down the Witch Doctor, but are going to be able to kill off LPC. Xiao Wei dusted, and Super is here, so maybe can make something happen as they've turned it around now down onto the Luna. Right, trading right clicks, and isn't quite going to be able to kill off that hasted OD. Very, very durable, and that rune making all the difference in the world as they're going to be able to take down the Mirana also. Spectre finding one, so really nicely played there for LGD Forever Young. And actually even going to be able to go now onto the Elder Titan. He needs to be careful. They're chasing him out. The Stomp comes, and that might be enough as Darkseer falls to the Nyx Assassin dive behind Tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they're just getting the better end of like everything now. It feels like if the Mirana's the one rotating as well as OD, Mirana should have more impact, but I don't know. EHOME running into some troubles, and now rightly so. They bring the Luna top. That lane is definitely over. But you know, you can say about the CS disparity, it's 39 to 23. That's a few hundred gold. It's gonna be made up by one kill when Spectre uses Haunt with Iron Shell and runs at the Luna. So it's by no means game breaking. I still think EHOME needed to get a bit more. And especially with the fact this OD is 1.2k ahead of everyone and looks like he's going Midas.
That's what we've been seeing a lot of the ODs go for nowadays. It feels like they're constantly just building for that late game and getting a little bit of extra.
I never see it in EU. It must be a Chinese thing.
Yeah. Well, QD, a little bit disheartened, but still really farmed at this point. And you get a Luna pretty farmed up. She's going to be able to take down some buildings rather rapidly, as well as turn up in these team fights. Eclipse is online, although only the 3 points in the Lucent Beam. As far as the next movements around the map, they have the Spectre Haunt. Is it just setting up with the Bounty Hunter and maybe an OD in tow? Or, oh god.
It's more the Darkseer and the Bounty.
God, this is going to be a kill here, I think. Xiao Wei slept for the moment, trying to see if they can find Yao. He is going to go down, and yeah, this is not a way to stop this one from happening. Bounty is still getting chased out here by QD and the Luna. But the dust wears off, and Xiao Wei will escape.
Not the most relevant smoke gank. So it's good for LFY. Especially the fact Spectre doesn't haunt in there, and they don't kill the Midas hero, so OD's getting further ahead. Now up to a 1.5k lead.
QD ready to start.
Rubik's also 6 soon. And that's going to be hell for Luna. Like, Rubik can just go steal Lucent Beam, and that's one of the strongest nukes in the game.
That's a real
Especially
problem.
when you have 0 cast point.
Oh, Super caught again. Arrow's going to go through, and they do break the game with Haunt again. Super ends up falling. Meanwhile, the Mirana getting ran down. They have vision. The Sentry Ward's still there. They find the kill. Not going to be able to take down that ET, I think, but still causing trouble in the mid lane. They had lift on LPC, but wasn't quite in range.
I think that favors EHOME though, because they get the first Haunt usage, and OD was definitely the
Radiant's
most
top
important
tower
hero on
is
the
under
map.
attack.
Now they get a consolation kill as well,
Dire's
with Rubik
middle
going for
tower
the
is
rune,
under attack.
Nyx cashing in some Vendetta, and they're pushing top tower, so it's definitely better pace at EHOME.
Again, throwing this out. Yao taking some damage. He's ready to start thinking about applying at least a little bit more pressure up along the top here. You can start to see that. I mean, Luna, is it just Helm of the Dominator now into trying to build into that economy game of stacking up Ancients, or is that a little bit scary at all? I guess that nobody on LFY can really take them.
I really like Dragonlance,
Dire's top
so
tower is under
it's
attack.
either Helm or Dragonlance. And that will depend on, do I want to farm for the first 15 minutes or do I want to start fighting with my team? In this game, I think I'd prefer that he goes the farming route, because fighting with Eclipse is really, really bad into Spectre, because Haunt just soaks every Lucent Beam.
Oh, Eclipse turnaround. Shao Wei ends up dropping, bit off more than he can chew. And I feel like that's just the answer that you go to all the time for Luna. If somebody is trying to make a gank happen on you, as Nick steals Vendetta, nice steal there. You just turn around, drop the ulti, and see if you can out DPS him.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay on their end. But Bounty is 6, so they can make up for these small little misplays when they get a few trap kills. I imagine next Haunt is a go
Dire's
time
bottom
for them.
tower is under attack.
Oh,
Maybe they'll wait for the Mech
pump
Dark here
faking?
though.
They've got vision on him. They go there for the Impale, and now the arrow coming through. He's not going to be able to make anything happen with that Vendetta, unfortunately. It is pretty cool to see the Vendetta with the Rubik ranged bonus damage.
Dire's
It's
bottom
more of an
tower
escape
is
or
under attack.
initiation tool than anything though, unfortunately. When it leads to your death, you kind of wish you never stole it in the first place.
Yeah. Mirana's still tracked. Or, I don't know. It always looks like there's heroes for LFY just don't have the damage to get on top of these guys. Like, Super might need an initiation item, and as for Haunt, Spectre, I mean, do you just go for the Vanguard at this point, which we've been seeing more often for specs, or do you think you could go for rushing a Radiance?
I feel like drums would be a better option than Vanguard, but I like the Radiance idea this game if the next few minutes go well. He's got the luxury of being able to
Dire's
save his
top tower
Golda.
is under attack.
Dux is about to hit the timing where he gets mech, so that's very likely a fight they win, and then he gets 2,500 gold maybe, and he's
Radiant's
halfway to his
bottom
relic
tower
as
is
opposed
under
to like a
attack.
quarter. It becomes a lot more feasible. It's all just on feel for him at this point. Both routes are completely viable,
Dire's top
which
tower
is more
under
like
attack.
economically
Radiant's
sound.
bottom tower is under attack.
That's sort of, I guess, the route that we'll figure out which way they want to go for it. The rotation in now from Nyx Assassin to see if they can make something happen to defend this tower. They do have a sentry ward in the area, though, and
Radiant's bottom tower
might just be
has
able to
fallen.
steal away Vendetta again if they're not careful. They realize the Nyx is coming over here. In the meantime, mid lane, they catch the stomp on a Monet. They're not going to be able to make anything happen there, but they're going to TP in to try and kill off the Spectre. Looking for the arrow, jump forward, connects. Now also Starstorm is out and
top tower
drop in
is
low,
under
but
attack.
not going to be low enough.
Dire's
Can't
top
quite kill her
tower
off.
has fallen.
Stomp? No, she's gone.
I don't know, it's close. Oh yeah, the new Stomp nerf. I always forget about those 0.1 timings.
Yeah.
Oh, Nyx has Midas, wow.
Dire's top tower
That's
is
really,
under
really good. I
attack.
didn't notice how farmed he was. I
Radiant's
know he'd been
bottom
involved in
tower
a good
is
amount of
under
kills,
attack.
but
Dig that.
you'll take that Arcane Midas at 14 minutes
Yeah,
with a few
absolutely.
build-up items.
This is kind of like I was
Dire's
saying,
top
the
tower
new
is under
strat that
attack.
we've been seeing is a lot of Midases that come out, and I guess more
Misery
often than
Coda
not,
all
Radiant's
over
middle
again.
tower
it was like
is under
the
attack.
Naga Sirens were
Dire's
the
top tower
heroes
is
where we
under
tended to
attack.
see the Midases come out in mass. It was just like every hero for both teams were running them. Kind of just blew my mind, but this time around we'll see it.
How do you counter Midas? You buy your own Midas. So no
Radiant's
gold win
middle
for them,
tower
right?
is under attack.
Absolutely. Well, Zhao Wade
Dire's
and
top tower
Nyx
is under
Assassin
attack.
pass each other.
Radiant
Ships in the
structures are
night.
fortified.
Track is online. We talked about
Radiant's
this. If
middle
Zhao Wade's
tower
not
is under
careful and
attack.
oversteps his bounds slightly, there's the turnaround
Radiant's
connection
middle
on to
ravage.
3. Oh, Lord, he wanted Impale and the Earth Splitter through. Oh, LFY. It is a massacre behind their tier 1 towers. Zhao Wade is going to drop. That was rough.
That was just a result of them not being set up and trying to do this kind of last minute thing where EHOME was set up and now they're getting punished even more.
He got caught. The Stomp's going to go through as well. There's going to be the Starstorm. And how do you lose your Spectre right there? That's,
Autopilot Dota.
yeah, that is not
Fighting
the play.
Yeah, deciding to dagger into a Nyx with maxed Carapace to then get ET stomped, and you didn't even need the arrow. Yeah. I feel like that's exactly what LFY didn't want to have happen. Because now it doesn't feel like a controlled game for them, and Spectre's not in a position where they're going to have space on the map to get the Radiance. And they're just going to give up a load of money, so fighting becomes a lot harder as well.
I mean, that you go from losing a tier 1 tower in the mid lane to losing a tier 2 and a huge team fight. I mean, that's 4,000 gold swing back in their favor. Now, Yao, as soon as he throws one of these ion shells onto these creeps, like, there's a chance they could go for this. The surge for it, they're not going to try for it. I was wondering if they were going to make it happen with the Mirana coming in, but a little bit too bold.
I think with the mech and the raindrops, it's close. And you're right next to a tier 1 tower, so TVs could easily come in. You got more Midases.
Told you, man.
This one I don't like so much. I feel like ET getting the levels from it is amazing.
Ooh.
But I feel like I'd rather just see a Force Staff or like a Yule Scepter on him.
This is a very strange chase that's coming out, and now a counter initiation comes from the side of LGD.Forever Young. The leap, oh, caught him midair. Nicely played right there by LPC. Able to take him back. Track is going to be thrown out some more. While they throw another Astral out, the TPs are going to start to come and see if the side of EHOME can make this happen. The Impale connects onto 2. Witchchopped ultimate as well, and the Earth Splitter's going to come through. KDH, what a monster. 8-0-4 on an Elder Titan. He is getting so much.
I mean, he's been set up by this Nyx perfectly. This is some impressive Nyx play. At the same time, LFY are overextending without vision. That could have been 3 heroes done, it only needed to be 2. And now this ET that just bought a Midas has 1300 gold. The Nyx that bought a Midas 4 minutes ago has the same amount of gold.
Like,
and the Luna that I was kind of sort of scared for is now topping their net worth and feeling extremely comfortable in fights. Like, all the things that I thought were going to go badly for her hasn't happened at all. It's always gone EHOME's way. Now they're going to get like Spectre as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty quick and easy kill. And you talked about earlier, autopilot Dota. That's what it feels like right now. No way to stop that at all from happening. And it just, I mean, you look up there at that dive that occurs, you saw that the Nyx was on the Darkseer. Like, the Darkseer got jumped upon by the Nyx. He even missed his Impale and only hit with the Mana Burn. And then you don't drop a Sentry Ward when you're, like, all grouped up as 3. It feels like LFY are tilted or something. There is some strange Dota being played today by the Zhao 8 squad.
Maybe it's just first game thing. It really does happen where you're just not warm, or I don't like to make excuses for them because they're professional players and they should account for these things, but sometimes it does happen.
Arrow going out, not going to connect onto anybody. Zhao 8 is going to do his best to get the tracks going, but this is a game is hard. That's where we're at right now.
It's going to get even harder, and 500 gold for Mirana as well. Because then the damage effectively doubles from them. And sure, the item got heavily nerfed, but it doesn't matter when your heroes have like 800-900 health. You're still taking nearly all of it in one button.
Again, a bit of a scary situation now. The Spectre is not with the fight, that's fine, but the big problem is that OD and the Darkseer are both on the other side of the map, so if their fight did happen to break out down bottom, I feel like this would heavily favor EHOME. Nyx just scouting out there.
They don't want to fight. They just want to stall and get tracks out without doing anything stupid and giving them a free kill. Because they don't really have anything to do on the map right now.
Well,
If they're down here, they feel like they're at least stopping silly TPs or putting themselves in a position to punish retreats. And the cores are doing the right thing by staying on the other side of the map.
arrow gonna get thrown out. Wouldn't have really mattered if they did happen, but meanwhile, you've got the Witch Doctor that's hanging out over to the side here and can think about going on this. Spectre on the other side of the map, as is the OD, and now suddenly they find the Impale onto Zhao Wei. The Lord is just outside of range, so they're not going to be able to pressure too much further. But this should finally be the dead tier 2 tower in the bottom lane as EHOME.K it.
Dire's middle tower
And
is
meanwhile,
under
Impale
attack.
missed again by the Nyx Assassin. A little unfortunate.
Close. And they don't really give up too much for claiming that tower either. Axe comes
Dire's
online now,
middle tower
so
has fallen.
there's more control of the map for them. He's even going to be able to cash it in here.
Well, catching now, Mirana in some trouble. She does have all the damage from that and catches mid-leap again in the Astral. Can they get the counter initiation play? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, she wasn't able to get off the Starstorm, and Monet is going to be able to pick up that kill and ever closer to this Radiance, but it's taken a long time to get there for the Spec.
Yeah, much longer than you would like when you kind of not naked rush it, but don't go for Vanguard drums, etc. You kind of want it around the 20-minute mark. 25 is still acceptable because the item's still going to be incredibly useful at dealing with the supports. And it stops Mirana with like,
Over to
blinking
the
in,
side.
leaping out.
I thought that Spike Carapace was going to hit with the onto Super, but don't manage to find that kill. Still, though, I mean, Dragonlance now online with Luna as well as the BKB. This is pretty indicative of the way that I think EHOME want to take this fight. They want to push down and just apply whatever pressure they can to lanes, and now thinking about Roshan, or I guess maybe just that big Ancient stack, which is going to get built up a little bit more. That is enormous.
Is that like a 6-stack?
Is more than a few. That is for sure.
That's
that is.
2,000 gold right there.
Oh my god.
Maybe more.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. LFY don't really have the ways of contesting this. They've just retreated way too far onto their side, and rightly so, because they don't have the ability to make the things happen they need to. At this point, they're just waiting on Spectre to get like 18 more gold, and then it's like, okay, yes, we finally have Radiance. What else do we need? Well, probably a Blink on Darkset, probably BKB on OD.
This is sort of Zen-like to me. I don't know why exactly, but just watching the stack get whittled down slowly, bit by bit.
It's
all
so
the blades.
satisfying.
Yeah, love it. Well,
I mean, he's not doing it as efficiently as he could be doing it because he's taking damage, but whatever, it's acceptable. Now he's doing it. Now he's learning.
they drop down a Radiant Sentry Ward in the bottom lane. LPC is there. And they don't spot the Nyx quite yet, but might have an inclination that he's in the area. And then we're just going to see the Mirana TP out. Goes to the top lane, pushes this. The big problem, though, is we've talked about all this game is the looming time bomb, the Spectre Radiance, which is now online. Does this allow them to take fights as a team, or is she still a little bit too concerned about the damage coming out?
I think straight 5-on-5's a bit ambitious, but maybe with OD's BKB they can get enough out of it. They really just have to like get the right kind of haunt and then jump afterwards, or they need previous vision from track. Because I don't think going on Luna is in the question. She's just gonna BKB and she's gonna sit there and right click you. You need to get on the other heroes. You also need to not get like 4 or 5 heroes in a Starstorm from bottom, because that's gonna chunk you down very, very easily.
Oh! Oh god, arrow almost connecting there onto Zhao Wei. That would have been a pretty immaculate one. It spotted eyes of just the little smoke curl-tailed off. Still, they're farming. Nyx Assassin ever closer to his Ags, and as this game goes on, we might have to hold that thought, because it looks like they might be able to break this smoke as Zhao Wei is up on the cliff.
They know. Yeah, like, this is really well read from Zhao Wei. Unfortunately, I think EHOME are kind of reading the LFY are smoking into them. And Roche isn't really a prospect while both teams have 5 heroes. It's too risky.
Oh, dust up on the high
Oh, that's
ground.
vicious.
They blinked, and they actually are now going to get caught. There's the track. That's a lot of damage being thrown out. Cutie in some trouble. Does finally get off that BKB, and the glaives are going to start to bounce. Eclipse has also been dropped. Super now left alone, and, well, they might still be able to do it. Says Eclipse, and the Witch Doctor ultimate illegally interrupted from the low ground. Oh, LPC with that Impale counter initiation was huge, and QD goes down. They're going to end up losing this Mirana off the back of potentially just an earn charge and a right click. Shao 8 manning up, maybe overstepped his bounds. Get good, small son, as it looks like they are going to be able to find the kill in the end. Bounty Hunter getting them.
Did you just flame Zhao 8, dude?
I may have. You know what? These things happen.
Oh,
Why
that
don't you
was
go
like...
retire again? Oh!
Dire's bottom tower is
Oh my
under
god.
attack.
It's meant to be me that flames these players, not you. Yeah, that was like the worst thing that EHOME could have done, where they blink into a position that is just so unfavorable for them. Nyx doesn't get to offer like any of his amazing utility that fight. The Eclipse just gets wasted in conjunction with BKB because they got the fog, and there was no lockdown to enable the Luna to get the right clicks, and Spectre just got full damage off on everyone throughout the entire fight with Radiance.
Absolutely.
It was kind of perfect, and now it's a position where they're pretty much back even.
I mean,
And that's good for LFY. That's really fucking good for them, because they were in a position where I feel like one Roche would have lost them the game. Now, I think they're very, very comfortable.
I think that they're in a great position, and it's always this scary moment where you take that one team fight handedly back into your favor. If a Manta Style comes out from Spectre now and they're able to get in on some of those backlines heroes, I mean, even if they go on top of like the Luna at the start of the fight, I don't think that they have the defensive capabilities to keep her alive in the midst of this. So, no, this is rough.
Most of LFY's damage is magic though, so I think Luna will be okay. It's more the rest of the heroes. Like Podem is pretty squishy, and everyone else is squishier than her, so... Don't get me wrong, I still think EHOME in like a very structured 5-on-5 where they're initiating with the Nyx, which is more what their lineup is based on. They can still win those fights. It's just... You just gave Spectre like 4,000 gold off that fight. But the team with Spectre, 4,000 gold. So that's always a scary prospect. You know, we talked about it with like the Draudusa thing, inevitability. Spectre offers very similar things. And it's not just Spectre, there's also an OD, which is one of the best heroes in the game against Luna, because Luna very rarely builds in, unless you build Scaddy, and you get enough Arcane Orbs, you just one-shot her.
They spot him out over here to the side now. They might, they don't realize that he's over here. There's just not the vision that they need, and Zhao 8 will be able to scout this out himself. I mean, it's just this Nyx assassin, I feel like, from EHOME has been getting so much done for them throughout this whole course of the game. And while there is still the swing that's back around, like, they have the ways to kill off the Spectre. Like, if she's farming alone and they find a, you know, turnaround with the spiked Carapace while Vendetta's going on, can't they still kill her off?
Yeah, for sure. Like, Nyx and Mirana can kill her anytime she's on her own. Even in any team fight, but OD can throw a wrench into that. He's also working his way towards Hurricane fight, so there's going to be a lot more utility to get people out of Sleep Arrow combos or Impale Arrow. Or just very, very dangerous cask bounces, which nearly salvaged the last fight for EHOME. It was very, very close.
Well, nobody really wanting to make any significant move now. There's a DD rune which will be picked up for QD, the Luna, and now call gets made. It's time to go in towards the Roche pit. This is, I mean, there's no pretense about this. They know what's happening. It is a butterflied Luna that is hitting Roshan. There's a track on her, and I don't know, they're gonna think about moving in towards this. Oh, but a really nice stomp. Yao not gonna make it happen. They are gonna throw out the haunt from Spectre to start the team fight off in the vacuum in towards the pit. Okay, maybe now things looking a little bit better. QD is caught in the midst of that wall. BKB still not popped. She's down to half HP, lifted back and pulled through. She's gonna go down, gets the Eclipse off, is healing up a little bit, and actually is just gonna be able to survive through this. I can't believe she's alive on this little HP. Nobody is hitting the Luna. Super jumps back in, and that might be the end of it. Yeah, they lost out the Witch Doctor and the Moran in the same accident, and now Super just able to jump out with the Blink Dagger. Monet is up on the high ground, but that's going to be a dead Nyx Assassin, and they just dismantle them in the Roche pit.
They just outplayed them entirely there. I think EHOME weren't set up enough, because when they saw the Spectre ult, they kind of like ran this way, and then Mirana gets caught out here, and that hero is so integral to your damage output. If she's dying at the start of the fight, it's kind of lost already. And then Luna being stuck in the pit. Sure, she got the kill on the supports, but as soon as the Big Daddy cause came in, she was no more.
Man, what a
And now
disheartening
Spectre has an
game right
Aegis.
here for side of EHOME.K. You come out to such a what I felt like was a decent start, and then
Oh, it was an amazing start. Like, this Nyx played out of his mind.
and also the ET. I mean, he had 8 kills at like, I don't know, 15 minutes ago almost, and obviously you're not trying to find kills with ET, but you'd expect that something would come about at the end of this. He does have the Midas.
Well,
does the Midas gold and experience levels start to translate into another utility item that can help them take this game?
Maybe if they can get one more fight. I feel like if you had the same start and you just went Yules plus Aether Lens or Yules plus Force Staff, you'd have pretty much the same amount of impact. The Midas has net gained him a hood.
Oh god, QD! What? Oh, that's
a mistake.
Oh man. Whew. I'll never.
Yeah, it's just.
I'll never question Xiao again. That's what I should learn from this.
No, you should question him more often. He's done some really clowny things, like walking into a clip several times. But you know, he's getting carried by his team, and that's all that really matters. You call the shots, and you make bad plays, and then you say, "All right, boys, carry me."
Here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, any pro player shouldn't care what a caster says, because they're the ones that are actually doing the work. So
I mean, I kind of disagree with that, because
well,
they can still learn a lot, but don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, if you look at any kind of analysis across real sports and esports, it's very easy to look at what they're doing, pick out their mistakes, and say this is what you'd like to see them do to improve. You try doing it. Like, I have tried. I did not get this close at all.
yeah.
So I have huge amounts of respect for them, and I never mean it as like flame. It's just more constructive criticism.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't try and give constructive criticism. I just try to meme and, you know, whatever.
I mean, I would like to meme, but I've been told it's bad.
Fair enough.
I read it.
It's a hard
So
life.
I limited meme.
Regardless, though, EHOME.K fall from grace has been real, and you take a look at this net worth graph. LFY 7,500 net worth swing into their favor. Was this just like inherent within the draft of LGD.Forever Young, or do you feel like this was more along the lines of making a couple of inopportune plays slash LFY taking advantage of those?
I think it was definitely more the inopportune plays, because I feel like you would expect this kind of net worth swing more towards the 45-minute mark, where LFY really hit their late game stride. But getting it this early, it's really scary for EHOME, because now Spectre has Heart and Aegis at a timing where you really wouldn't expect to have to deal with it, at least with an Aegis.
Oh.
And EHOME are in a really, really bad position now, because there's vision here, and if they get caught out, it's quite easy for Horn to just destroy them.
They're sprinting the Rubik forward. He's going to start the fight off for him. What are you doing, frame rate? Vacuum wall back in. BKB's been popped for Yao, and QD trying to man up against as many of them as can, but Super, just destruction up on the high ground. He takes their base for his own. That's going to be an ultra. Well, maybe not. They missed for a moment, and he wants this one bad. Wicked 6 streak for Monet. He was able to take it down, and yeah, that's going to get the kill. Super feeling pretty good about himself.
Back. Oh, the upper miss! Alright, never mind. No courtesy rampage. Super's not good enough.
Oh.
Doesn't deserve it.
Lordy, this
Yeah, that's Rax.
easily.
That's also probably game, but we'll be optimistic and say EHOME can
GG.
get a 5-man ETC. Apparently they don't want to be optimistic, which is completely understandable. When you want kind of a more constructed team fight, Spectre's one of the best heroes in dealing with it. It was a really, really smart pick from them. Sure, the laning stage didn't set it up to be amazing, but it didn't need to be. They just needed like the one fight they got, and I feel like that was going to come at some point in the game. It's very hard to play a flawless game against a hero that gives effectively clear vision on all 5 of your heroes at one point in the game. And then there's also Track, Iron Shell, OD is amazing against so many of the heroes on EHOME, barring the Nyx.
Well, at this point now, it's you take a look at the graph and it kind of just tells the whole story. You can fill in the pieces with whatever you want, but EHOME.K looking good, and then all of a sudden LGD.Forever Young take it back in. So we're going to be back in just a little while with game number 2, LGD.Forever Young facing off against EHOME.K. I'm really excited to see what happens in game number 2. And stay tuned, everybody. Be sure to follow us on Twitter if you are feeling like you'd like to do that. Twitter.com/LyricalDota, Twitter.com/PqMz. It's Dota_. That's correct, I believe. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Oh, wonderful.
Fortunately, PqMz was taken. Bullshit site.
That's not good at all. We gotta take care of that business. Well, stick around, everybody. Game 2 after just a little break.